being on the interview. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. So could you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do for a living, and then also the cool car that we're in right now?
Of course, of course. So I'm Rod Mora, one of the business partners or the managing partners for Pegasus Estate Group. I also collaborate with another company called Race Digits, and that's my motorsports related company. So I'm also, I'm very invested into real estate. Started in real estate back in 2016. Cars are my passion, and that's what drove me to buy this car.
Yeah, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit about what made you decide to be an entrepreneur and start your own business.
Okay, that's a really good question. So my background is in digital marketing and sales, and it always has been since I started my career. So working for another company, or for any company, or for many companies, however you're starting your to develop your career, I started noticing that I would always hit a wall, whether if it was from management or from team leads or from whoever. There was always walls to be taken down. I never really minded, going through that, because that's life, right?
Yeah.
In sales, your job is, go through objections.
Yeah.
Your job starts whenever someone tells you no.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I wanted to do something different. One of the things that really triggered me whenever to switch that mindset was I was working on a project for a company for about a year, right? And super excited. I put my soul and effort and everything I could to, make the higher ups happy. Well, after a year of, working on this project, they decided to shut it down. And so that was really a letdown.
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't really click with me on why or what were the reasons, and as an employee, they just gave me like this excuse or like this just answer, which led to nowhere. So I started looking for avenues, and I was like, I don't want to be in this anymore. I want to be able to like grow and do things differently. And that's when I started thinking into what are the ways that you can make money and be financially free and enjoy life, right? And one of the pillars in the economy is real estate.
Yeah.
There's no limit. You get out of it what you put in it. And if you work hard, you're going to get very far in real estate.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. I'm nowhere near the top just yet, but I keep working on it every day.
You have to.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was thinking about on my way over here is that the barrier to entry for real estate is a lot lower than a bunch of other things, like maybe accounting, where you have to go get a degree and pass a bunch of different exams in order to, be an accountant. So how do you differentiate yourself from all the other real estate people that are out there and make sure that you get, your next clients?
Oh, 100%, man. That's a really, really good question. So anybody can get a real estate license. Anybody. And yes, the test is relatively hard just to get through. But the real piece comes, the real piece of the business comes whenever, like you mentioned, like how do you get your clients? How do you get, expose yourself? How do you really manage and navigate to not stay at the bottom? Because I was reading an article, and a lot of the real estate agents in the nation are not doing well. And whether that's due to the rates or whatever, there's a whole bunch of factors that are affecting that, right? But to answer your question, always be genuine, man. Always be genuine. I'm not ever looking to make a transaction for the money. Yes, I have to put food on the table. Yes, I have to pay my bills. But at the end of the day, the reactions that you see from people buying either their first home or their first or second or third investment, and they give you a thanks, like a genuine thank you, to me goes way, way, way beyond, paycheck.
Absolutely.
And so being honest and genuine about the business is how I differentiate myself. Let alone I also grew up in Austin, so I know the lay of the land fairly well. So from an investment perspective, for seasoned investors, that's a plus, because I can tell them this is a good investment, this is not an investment. First time buyers, hey, I know where your house is going to boom, and what are your goals, right? So we're going to go through, finding out what are your goals. Let's not just sell you a house. I'm not here to sell you a house. What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And so we have a whole, the mentality of like allowing the buyer or the seller achieve their long-term goals versus just selling
a house. Yeah. It's more than just a transaction.
100%.
Gotcha.
100%.
How many of your clients are repeat clients?
I want to say 90%.
Really?
Yeah. 90%.
So are people going through houses really quickly, or what's the process like there?
The process of going through houses is about 3 years.
Really?
Let's give it a go.
Get a little. Always good. Always good to have a little
blue phone. You gotta have it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, back to your question. I think for the most part, people switch through houses, or in my experience, every 2 to 3 years, right?
Really?
And if it's a first-time home buyer, for the most part, we're not buying the dream home yet.
Yeah.
Again, going back to like, what are your goals? Oh, in 10 years, I want to have this house. Okay, how do you get there?
Yeah.
So 3 years, I would say, is a good amount. Jumping from one to another house.
There's stepping stones.
Yeah, there's stepping stones into,
Understood.
to get whatever you want to get.
Yeah.
Or pursue other businesses, because with real estate, you can also, cash out refi on your houses and then put that equity into something else. So yeah, there's many ways to go around it.
Yeah. So one of the things you touched on at the very beginning was how much sales and marketing leads to your success. Tell us a little bit about what your sales process is like and how you differentiate yourself from just, a normal salesman.
Okay, so the sales process, again, it goes back to step one, meet and greet, going through the goals, and then, show and tell, meaning let's go show some houses once you're pre-approved and all that. And then, differentiating ourselves from other agents is I'm heavily involved with like the car community.
Yeah.
So most of my buyers and sellers are people that you probably already know or that I know. So like the car community is super tight with me in terms of having that. They're already, what's the word I'm looking for? They already have that personal engagement and personal common interest, right? That's easy to work with, and so I'm super easy to work with.
Absolutely.
Like for some home buyers might not have a really good understanding of what it takes to get into a house.
Yeah.
So I make it super simple for them. I was just like, it could be as easy as just like, sign this. Yes, I'm gonna go through the steps if you wanted to. But some people are just like, I don't want to know any of the paperwork. I trust you. Please just help me, right?
Yeah.
And so again, going back to honesty, integrity, and that really builds the value and sets me apart.
Sure.
And that's how I get the repeat clients. Are like, hey, you know what, Rod was really helpful with this and that. Gonna be the best deal. Wasn't just looking to just get a paycheck.
Yeah.
So that's major.
I gotcha. So one of the things that I've talked a lot about with other people is how they were able to get a successful business running, but the key to their success and growing was to be able to scale. Can you talk to us a little bit about scaling, maybe hiring the right people, and what it was like to build a team?
Yeah, 100%. So in order to do that, I feel like you have to put yourself through that path first, right? Once you understand the path of like, okay, here's what could go wrong, here's what could go right, and you learn through the process of producing in this sense, then you can share that with other individuals, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the real estate market is saturated, so it's really hard to come along the right individuals, right? That are mind driven, that have that same mentality that you have, and you have to be selective with what you have. I don't want to be a brokerage where there's just volume and there's hundreds of agents working. I care about quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
So yeah, being selective on who you work with and having like-minded individuals. That's really important.
For sure.
Yeah.
So whenever you're looking for people, you're saying you're looking for quality over quantity. What are some aspects of a person that you're looking at, and maybe telltale signs or a litmus test that you can go through to determine if someone is that good person and good fit or not?
Okay, so for me it would be the entrepreneurial mindset. It has to be there. For me personally, I don't think just sales is going to get you success in real estate.
Yeah.
Salesperson is not going to do well. A marketer, you have to be a little bit of both. You have to be able to capture a little bit of sales, a little bit of a marketer, and a people's person more than anything as well. So yeah, that's what I look for.
Gotcha.
Professionalism as well.
So we talked a little bit about business. Let's talk a little bit about cars too.
Yeah.
Where did the passion for cars come from?
the passion from cars kind of came as yourself, man. It started with Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hot Wheels, my big brother used to give me maybe a Hot Wheel every other week whenever he saw me, because we didn't see each other for too long. So he would just bring me a car, and every week I was already looking forward to the next car, and the next one, and the next one, and you know where that leads.
Yep.
So yeah, I ended up getting this from there, from the Hot Wheels. I was like, well, I know the cars, they're super cool, I like the way they look, but I remember my dad used to have what was it, a Beetle, like the old school ones, the 90s. I think it was 93 in Mexico. And I clearly remember sitting where you're at in that car and just staring and just being like, what's going on? What is this? So it looked fun. So it got to the point where I memorized like all the gears, where he would downshift, where he would upshift, why, and then more than anything, I would just get confused when the car was on a hill. Yeah. Like I was like, what is he doing? Like this makes no sense, but it looks fun. And so that's how it started. And then it transitioned into coming to the States. Had the opportunity to like, you know, grow within the 90s Honda scene, and that was pretty quintessential for, you know, a time frame in I guess motorsports or just getting into cars, man. It was different. So going to HEB and finding 20 magazines from Super Street to Hot Import Tuner and like all the big brand names back in the day, just sitting hours going through and kind of like yourself having that visualizing, how am I gonna get there? Like I don't want to work, you know, somewhere and then not being able, how am I gonna fund this basically? And that's how it got started. So like, okay, so got a job, worked, bought my first car, threw a bunch of money at it, swapped the whole 9 yards, and then I found myself that I wasn't just a Honda enthusiast. I was like, hey, I actually like all cars. Let's find out what BMW is like. Let's find out what Ford is like. Let's find out what, you know, the motorsport heritage. So it kind of started getting there. So over the time, man, I've gone through probably like 50 cars from like different different automakers, from, you know, Toyota 86s to, you know, now this GT4, and it's not gonna stop there. You know, at some point I definitely want to have a garage with at least 5 cars that are going to be like the race car, the, you know, the daily, the, you know, maybe like a truck, and something else, some supercar. Has to be a supercar.
Has to have it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you came to the States. There's a bunch of kids that go through our program who are like first generation kids. If you were to go back and think to yourself when you were first coming to the US, what bits of advice would you give to people that might be in a similar set of shoes that you were in when you were younger?
That's a really good question, man. I think don't let anybody put you in a box. It doesn't matter if, you know, like you're a certain color, certain ethnicity, certain anything. The sky's the limit. You know, you have to be able to like just push through that. Yeah, there's gonna be boundaries, and that's life, unfortunately, for all of us. There's some people that are more fortunate than others, but if you put the hard work, and if you just kind of keep pushing forward, you can get very far. You know, and that's the best piece of advice I can give. Don't let anybody put you in a box. Just continue to push forward.
What were some of the obstacles that you overcame while, you know, coming into the U.S. and going into a brand new culture? What were some of the obstacles that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Not speaking English. That's major, right? So I think polishing my English, being able to speak, communicate, you know, that's important. You have to. Communication is going to get you so far, so much farther than any other skill, in my opinion. If you're able to communicate if you're able to communicate yourself well with others, man, that's a key to a lot of opportunities. So communicate, learn how to communicate, learn English. Mine is not perfect, as you can see, but it's okay.
It sounds perfect to me.
It's okay. You just keep learning, right? And hang out with individuals that are like-minded. That's gonna help you a whole lot. So that's one of the biggest obstacles that I faced whenever I, you know, came to the States. And just kind of not knowing anybody, man. That's basically, you know, another challenge mentally. You know, you have to. It's not traumatizing, but it really builds character out of you, in my opinion. Because then you have to learn how to, you know, get out and talk to other people, be comfortable in a different environment. Texas, which at the time, I don't know how many people lived here, but it wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely those were the two biggest challenges that I found whenever, you know, I was growing up.
Gotcha.
And again, find a passion, you know. That passion's going to take you to places. And get started early, like kind of what I was telling you. Getting started early is important. You're getting started at a really good age. So, you know, by the time you're my age, I'm going to say like, oh, I met him when he was a certain age. And it's so cool. We had this drive.
Yeah.
We're going to have that memory, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
And now we're having some fun with the drive, too.
Second gear, super long on this car. So, second gear.
Oh. It's going to be hard to focus. So, you mentioned a lot of stuff about sales earlier, too. Yeah. What do you think is the best sale that you ever had? Walk us through it.
Best sale I've ever had.
Or your favorite one. What's your favorite sale?
I sold my friend into doing business with me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So instead of just being a realtor, I was like, dude, I don't want to just be a realtor. There's too many realtors out there. And yes, I will enjoy it. I'm doing what I'm doing and you know, I'll grow with it. But I sold him into my buddy who I was talking to you about. He's a builder. So I said, hey, let's collaborate together. And not so much of a sell, but yes, at the same time, because I said, hey, I have the idea of like, you know, you're building the houses. I have this whole sales background, and let's collaborate. Let's partner up and build Austin. Yeah. And dude, that's been the best sale ever, because that has brought us, you know, that collaboration has brought so much success for both ends. Sure. On the construction piece of it and on the real estate piece of it as well. Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of people say don't work with your friends. Obviously, you said he was one of your close friends. So tell us about working with one of your close friends. Would you recommend it? Would you not? Why and why not?
That's a really good question, man. Actually, I would say, for the most part, don't work with your friends. Unless it's a relationship that you have been through and forged for probably more than 7 years. I think that's a good mark. With your friend, kind of like what you were saying, like, man, we've been together for 7 years, and yeah, that's a person that I can not talk to for a month and get back together and like pick up anywhere, right? And I trust them, and at the end of the day, business is business. There has been certain times where it's like, hey, you know what? We have a disagreement of certain, you know, whatever it is. Whatever this agreement happens, if you're able to overcome that with that person and go through that, then you can get very, very, very far. So I wouldn't advise it. Working with friends can go sour super easily. I've tried it a couple of times. Yeah. It has worked on a couple of times, but for the most part, it doesn't. Yeah. With this other individual that I'm telling you, it's a long life friendship. So it's and we always separate everything. Like, we can be friends, we can go grab a drink, we can talk, you know, friendship. But when it's business, it's like, hey, business is business. Sure. And it's gotten to, you know, like, it's to the point where, like, sometimes I might not be the best fit for the listing, and that's okay. Yeah. Business is business. Sure. And you have to respect that. So as long as you respect that boundary, then you're fine. Yeah.
I was worried we were gonna bottom out right there.
I've driven too many times through here. Dude, I think the first time I drove this road was probably back in 2004. I got lost.
So you have a lot of time on this.
I got lost. I was in my Honda Civic, and I'm gonna make a U here. And I got lost. It was like 9 p.m. and there was no GPS back then. So like I literally got lost from over there to over here. But I was like, oh my god, that's the coolest road ever. I want to go back. Had no understanding of driving dynamics. I was just like, you know, driving. But now that I do, it's you understand a lot more once you understand the car and how to drive these cars, right? For sure. So anyway,
Speaking of that, so you and I met because you came to my track day at Circuit of the Americas. How did you get into starting to track your car and understanding those vehicle dynamics like you're talking about?
Through Bill Dallahite and Scott Dallahite. Man, I've known Scott probably for about, I think we were talking the other day, and it's almost 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, again, from the Hondas, I went through the spectrum of American cars, and then I went through the German cars. My first one was an M3, E46 M3.
Very good car.
Yeah, very good car. E46, 2004 or 5, I think. It was carbon black with the red interior, so it was the money spec other than the Imola blue. Yeah. Or the, what's it called, the Laguna Seca blue.
Yeah.
So I started talking to Scott. I came to an event that they had for M cars only, and linked up with him, and he was telling me that, you know, they used to race go-karts at the track, come out, have some fun. So we did the whole little track. They had 3 different configurations at that track. So we did the smaller one, which was extremely technical on a car, and that's actually where I learned a lot of my skills.
Same with me.
So because it's so small but so technical, and people are like, oh dude, 37 seconds or 30 whatever you run, they're like, what's that? That's not a truck. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
It gets very technical, and I think one of the beautiful parts about that small track is, since it's so small, whenever you make mistakes, it's only like that until you come back again, so you can fix them and constantly work on it and develop everything.
And so that's exactly how I kind of got hooked into, came out, had some fun with the go-karts, but every time there was an event, I would go out there and kind of get together with Scott and you know, kind of like chit-chat and learn more and more, and from there I just paid myself away. I paid myself into Harris Hill, Coda, got myself more track time, and man, I think I've lost the number of times that I've been to the track. I just go. This is fun.
It's so much fun. It's really addicting. It's really addicting.
It's super addictive, man.
What do you think is like the best time that you've had with a car?
Coda at night. Coda at night has to be the best time. So you know, I grew up with anime and silly stuff, and like I said, my background was street racing. So you know, there's this. I don't condone it like at all. You know, you gotta be safe on the roads. You don't want to put anybody in, you know, harm's way. But
Initial D.
Let's just say Initial D got me, and you know, 9 o'clock on this road, empty. It's a different vibe, right? So the one time that I did Coda at night, it reminded me of that time, but no limits. I mean, you're in a controlled environment, which is a lot better than a deer coming in front of you, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so I was able to actually push the car to its limits as we're talking, without, you know, having to be concerned about, you know, like what's gonna happen. So Coda at night is one of the track events that I highly recommend if you're, you know, if you're tracking your car. It's completely different. And most people are like, oh yeah, you can't go that fast, blah blah blah. It's just for the rotors, take pictures, blah blah blah. But you know, to me, it hits my heart because I used to be out here around that time frame, and I know what it's like to drive at night at a fast pace. So yeah, that one was my funnest time on track.
Well, if you were, you know, 20 years old again, or maybe a little bit younger going through high school, is there any other pieces of advice that you give a younger version of yourself or a young entrepreneur?
Yeah, 100%. So I think if I could go back, I would make more connections and not shy yourself away from talking to anybody. Because at the end of the day, man, we're all human. You know, and it doesn't matter if you're white, brown, black. Just talk to people. Get connected with people. And then in today's world, is so much more different because you could just send a DM, send, you know, like connect through whatever social media that people are using nowadays. You know, it's so much easier. So start making those connections earlier, and then they'll get you faster, you know, to different places. They'll open different doors for you. You're doing an amazing job at doing that, by the way. And I really respect that, because you know, I wish I would have done that. No, I probably don't wish. I don't want to say I wish, but if I could have done that before, you know, I would have established those relationships sooner. I would have gotten further than where I'm at today. So yeah.
But you've gotten very far from very humble beginnings as well. 100%. So you should be very, very proud of yourself.
One of my really good friends told me, and thank you for that.
Of course.
Told me, like, most people when they come to the States, they go through a state of like the first parents come to work, right, for whatever work they're doing, and that's gonna be what they're doing. The second generation usually goes to a college, and they're not, you know, they're just getting their education. And the third generation is the generation that usually starts a business. So he said, dude, you should be proud of yourself because
you skipped everything.
And I never really realized that until like one day I just sat and I was like, actually, kind of makes sense. But I don't take pride on it. I just keep going. Because I always
you can't rest on it.
I always want more.
Yeah, we're wired the same.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if wanting more all the time is the greatest thing. Sometimes you do have to stop and think about like, your achievements. Kind of like what you did at Coda, man. That's a great achievement.
Thank you.
And also, just to tap on that, I really want to say thank you to Bjorn, who was a
connected us.
person
Absolutely.
with you. I met him through cars at Driveway as well, at an event, and we've done several deals together. He's one of my diamond level clients, if you would.
I got one last question for you.
Yes, sir.
What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is being able to do what we're doing right now at the time that we want to do it. That's absolutely it. So I'm not reporting to anybody. I'm not, having to report to anybody, or just, I think freedom with time is how would I say it? Well, how would you put it? Like not financial freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, financial freedom, yeah, you need it. It's necessary for everything. But if you're able to free yourself from 9 to 5 and just do
create
what
your
we're
own
doing,
schedule, do what you need.
work around, your meetings and what have you, that makes me happy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the answer for that.
Awesome. Can we do one more pull before we cut it?
100%. You have to.
We're in Mexico right now.
We're in Mexico.
All right.
Well,
thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you
Absolutely.
for inviting me, man.
Is there anything that you want to plug or shout out or anything for your business? Any one of them?
Yeah, like if you guys want to just follow me on Instagram, I think a lot of people I have a pretty good following on Instagram, so if they want to follow me on Instagram, they're totally welcome to do so. I usually put content on real estate, and it's educational for the most part, educational and cars. I just put cars and real estate. So my hashtag or my handle is RodStarM, and they can find it, or they can also find us at Race Digits and Pegasus Estate Group. So I have 3.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you there. Thank you so much, Rod.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you next episode.
Bye.